Welcome back to another week on the farm. It's not often I record so early in the morning because I'm really not a morning person, so I'm actually kind of like struggling to speak a little bit because it is currently like 7:15 in the morning. And I know for some dairy farmers that's going to seem like mid-afternoon, but it takes me a long time to warm up in the morning, a long time to get going, and 7:15 still feels very early. To be clear, I've been up since 6, so it's not like I've just got out of bed. I just need to make that clear. Farmers get very angry if you don't start work before 6 a.m. What an incredible morning. So let me catch you up on the last week on the farm. We actually had to bring the cows into the house during the day at the start of the week just because there was so much rain and the land, the fields got so wet that we physically couldn't graze them any longer. I finally got the cows out again yesterday and had to bring them in at lunchtime because there was like really heavy rain for about an hour and a half. All the cows just came to the gate and they made a total mess of the field. It really doesn't look much better the next day. So our cows are meant to graze the next field along this morning, but I think that field's still going to be too wet. So my backup plan, option 2, is that we send them into this reseeded field and hopefully it's drier. So we'll check and see how dry this field is, and then we'll go check and see how dry the other field is, and then we'll make our decision. This is going to be a tough call. This field is disappointingly squishy. I didn't expect it to be so wet, to be honest. It's definitely workable, but you really don't want to be destroying a reseed that's only been done 2 months. Okay, that's an option that will work. We can graze this if we need. Let's go check the other field. The cows went in here at the very start of the year and tramped it, and now they've done it again. So I'm probably going to have to look at reseeding this next year after just 3 years, which is awful. Can you see the problem? Okay, so this field is not going to be an option. It's probably not going to be an option, to be honest, for the next week at least. Can't believe how wet it is. Cannot believe how wet it is. What an absolute mess. This field is actually going to have to be ploughed again. Stupid weather in 2024. Absolute nightmare. Okay, I'm going to put this fence up, then we'll go let the cows out and I'll give you an update on how our milk yields have been doing and how the herd has been performing. It's almost as depressing as this field. So that's the fencing wire up. I have kept them quite tight today. I may live to regret that decision, but there's a lot of grass in the field and I would like them to actually eat it down instead of just tramping it into the dirt like yesterday. So we're going to hope the field is dry enough that they'll graze it properly. Now it is a fine line. It's a fine line between ending up with a nice grazed down field and just making a mess, but if ever there was a year to take risks, it's 2024. Let's go let the cows out and then we have to get to putting in the silage for this evening. While the cows are walking out to the field, I'll give you a bit of an update on our silage situation, and I actually got this sampled at the end of last week, so I'll take you through that sample. We'll take a look at the sample first and then we'll get into how much silage I have left, which is the bigger concern rather than any silage sample. So this sample is not done through a lab, it was done on an NIR machine. The NIR machine is definitely not as accurate, but I did split a sample earlier in the year and it was pretty close. So this is the best we've got for now. I will do a full sample of my third cut in the very near future. So when I first opened this silage, it was way wetter than I expected. I'm pretty sure I said that in a YouTube video, I can't really remember, but it is now dried up a lot and we have a dry matter value of 32%. That's pretty much perfect and it's really complementing our wet grazed grass very well at the minute. The D value or ME is pretty disappointing, 10.9. It's probably just slightly below our average for third cut, but the third cut was cut in really good conditions. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, but I'll take it. It's not bad, it's decent. Crude protein was very disappointing, 12.3. That is much lower than previous years. We're normally getting between 14 and 16%, I don't really know why the crude protein's so low. It wasn't cut back in fertiliser. It was only 8 weeks or 10 weeks after it was cut the first time. I think it's just a case of there was very little sunshine, so there's very little protein. We are going to address this over the winter by feeding extra soya, so it's a slight extra cost, but it shouldn't have any big negative consequences. Whereas with the ME of your silage, you can't really recover that. NDF of 48%, again, kind of surprising because there wasn't that big of a gap between our second and third cuts, but there's not a lot I can do about that. The pH of 4.2 is decent for the dry matter, and the lactic acids and VFAs are also spot on, especially the VFAs being only 18. That's a really good sign of a very efficient fermentation and very little contamination in the grass. It's also definitely worth noting that that sample was taken last week, and this silage was only in the pit 3 weeks, if even, when that sample was taken. So the bulk of our third cut is in the far silo, and it filled that silo up completely, and then this little hump was just the excess. So again, I'm pretty confident the bulk of the third cut will be better stuff. Once it's in longer, it's got a chance to ferment better, but we'll not know that till we open it, which is probably not going to be for another 2 months. And then behind this little hump of third cut, we have our second cut, which is always the best silage we make, but there's also the least of it. Now let's get to how much silage we have made so far in 2024 and how much we're going to have to make in the next month to get through the winter. So to have enough silage for the year, we need to cram both of these silage pits and have them full at the start of October. And this year, that is very unlikely to happen. If we had have been able to keep grazing day and night and had really strong grass growth, and the cows hadn't ate almost all of this hump of third cut by the start of September, we might have been okay. But by the time we cut our fourth cut, which is going to probably be 3 weeks ideally, we'll be back another 2 bays well into our second cut, and that is leaving an awful lot of space for our fourth cut to fill, and it's just not going to do it. So the prediction from me will be that our fourth cut will come to the front of the silo, but it's not going to be crammed in. It's going to be pretty low, a gentle slope back, and that's probably going to leave us about 100 to 200 tons short on what we need, and probably 300 to 400 tons short on what we had last year. And that's a lot of silage to be short. If we say it's £50 a tonne, I need at least another £10,000 of silage to probably get me through the winter. And ideally, I would need more like £20,000 of silage. And to be clear, I'm not buying silage. It is a really dumb thing to do, in my opinion. I have a solution and I have a plan to deal with the potential silage shortage, but I'll not share that in this video. I'll probably wait until we see how much fourth cut we actually have, and then I will take you through the entire plan for dealing with being short of silage in a separate video at some point at the end of September. There is no cheap option to deal with being short of silage, but there is good and bad options, and that's what the video will be about. It's my daughter's first day of nursery today, so I have to head home after this and see her off, and then I have to take my son for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, so that's basically my entire morning gone. It's not the tidiest entrance to a field, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I think we made a good decision this morning. They'll be happy in there the rest of the day. So when I do get back this evening, we have another grazing field to spray with Roundup because it's going to be ploughed with the good weather coming next week. And then I had planned to try and get some fertiliser on the reseeded fields, which you've seen me lifting in last week's video, because I kind of wanted to get another cut of that before the end of the year. But I think they're going to be too wet to sow still. I'm going to have to leave that until Monday. It just looks like the picture of perfection. But you all know the truth, that grazing cows sucks. Anyway, catch up with you this evening when we'll get this field sprayed. Hopefully not get stuck, it's going to be wet. And we'll see about the fertiliser as well. I know I promised I'd be back doing farming today, but it just didn't pan out. So this evening I'm taking my sauna and I'm going for a dip. So this isn't actually my sauna, and I genuinely had to steal it to use it this evening. Sorry, give me a minute until I reverse. It's not the handiest thing in the world. So the reason why I had to steal this sauna for this evening is that my brother doesn't like people taking it anywhere. He just likes it sitting at his house as like an ornament. But I am a big sauna fan. I actually have an electric sauna at my house, but it's just not the same as going to a lake and having a wood-fired sauna. So maybe once every 3 weeks, maybe sometimes every 2 weeks, I go and steal the sauna from his house and then I take it to a lake and go for a wood-fired sauna. I don't know why my brother gets so annoyed. I am a very careful driver and the chimney doesn't have enough horsepower to go over 30 miles an hour with it, so it's not like it's going to get damaged. He's just very protective about his things. I will say you get very strange looks from people when you're driving through the town in a bright blue chimney with a wood-fired sauna with a chimney on behind. Anyway, I'll turn the camera on again when I get there. I'm going to a lake which is about 20 minutes away from my house. Okay, let's get this fire started. If anyone walks past and sees me sitting in a sauna by myself, talking to a camera, it's going to be a strange experience. This can take quite a while to heat up, anywhere from like 20 to 30 minutes. Get the wee sticks in first. It looks very, very cold. Oh, I've got to fill my steam bucket up. Welcome back to Friday morning. We are going to go and move the fencing wire for the cows today first of all, and we're also going to see the state of the field from yesterday. I haven't seen it because I was away all day. Hopefully the cows didn't damage it, otherwise I'm going to have to change my plans because today the cows are going into the reseed that we done 2 months ago. The sauna and the cold plunge in the lake last night was absolutely fantastic, but whenever I left the sauna back at my brother's house, he was not happy. He was literally standing outside his house with a torch waiting for me to scold me for stealing it. He now says that he's going to take the wheels off the trailer so I can't steal it again. So I either need to buy myself a set of wheels to replace the wheels that he's going to take off the trailer, lift the sauna and trailer onto a separate trailer the next time I want to steal it, or build my own sauna. But I think the first 2 options sound funnier, so we're probably going to go with that. As I said, he is very protective about his things. Okay, so the update from yesterday is that it wasn't terrible. A little bit squidgy, but it's not terrible. It's definitely not perfect. There's definitely spots where there's been some damage done, especially around the gate, but I'll take it. I have no other choice. Right, I'm going to move this fence wire for today. Unfortunately, I left my wellies at home and I'm in boots, so my feet are going to get very wet. So that's the fence wire for today up, and actually my boots aren't too wet because the cover of grass is really low. This is the reseed we done like 8 weeks ago and it's kind of struggled for growth. It's been really, really slow to get past this stage. Growth has just been pretty slow for the last couple of weeks, and it's just when this reseed needed a bit of heat to really get it moving. But we'll get it grazed off today. I'll probably graze the second half of this reseed tomorrow because there's some rain coming at the weekend, and then the cows won't be back into this until the springtime again. So it'll be a relief to get this grazed down and just left ready for winter. And it is just a wee bit soft underfoot, so it might not be the prettiest after the cows come out of it today, but I don't think I'm going to get a better chance. Like, I could gamble and wait a week and hope I get better weather, but then if that better weather never comes, I'm kind of shafted because if I don't get this grazed down, leather jackets are just going to destroy it over winter. If anyone has a spray for leather jackets, by the way, please let me know because they are causing carnage on my grazing block over the winter. Having so many gaps is a bit of a pain to fence since you're constantly closing them up and opening them, but it's well worth it. Thankfully that wire's already up, so that gap's fine. And my puddle is getting smaller, so that's a good sign that the weather conditions are improving. and things are getting a little bit drier. So the rest of the morning, after I let the cows out, we're going to give the cows silage for this evening, and then we have a decision to make about whether we try and spray off another 8 acres for reseeding at the end of this year. I think it's a good idea. I think I'll get the weather to apply it, but we'll check before we actually do anything. How long did that take me this morning? I don't have my phone. I have no idea where my phone is. Let's hope it didn't fall out of my pocket. Oh, thank goodness, it was in the house. I am so relieved. Oh my days. Losing your phone is a nightmare. I never would have found it down in the middle of that field. Oh, the string's so dirty. Just tie it off here. Come on. Come on. Now, obviously, I'm not working here in this farm alone, and I often get asked about how many staff I have. So let me use today as an example of who else is here and what they're going to be doing. So a guy called Ian and my dad were milking this morning, and they have just finished up. And then in 20 minutes, Calvin will be here. He's going to scrape down all the cubicles, bed the cows, feed all the young stock meal, and then him and my dad will do like little faffy footery about jobs for the rest of the day. And Calvin will also be here this evening to milk with my dad. And then David is here most Friday mornings, but this week he's coming to take our mowers because he's going to mow some of his own silage. What a lovely day. Okay, before my breakfast I've got to get a thumbnail, so I'm thinking this is a good angle with the cows and the sunshine behind me. I just got to make sure that the bull doesn't see me and come and attack me. Although to be fair, me being attacked by a bull and trying to run away would be a fantastic thumbnail. And we have another problem. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a wire running up the field and the fencer's on it, so it has current. And this wire here, for this gap, I need to open up so I can get to the drinker. But it's like 1 centimetre away from touching the wire with current in it. I really hate being shocked. Right. Keep tension, keep tension. Oh, it's easy. Alright, I was being a big baby. This is actually not a problem. Just do this the whole way. Don't let it touch. Okay, that was actually very easy. Problem solved. Now, let's get a thumbnail. That's the beauty of a photo on a nice sunny morning when the cows have just entered the field. It looks amazing. But thanks to the fact that this is a video and not just an Instagram post, you all know the reality that grazing has sucked for the last month and I am doing real damage to my fields. And that field is not going to be pretty this evening. Right, I've had my breakfast, but I'm running out of time. I'm away for the weekend, so I'm only on the farm for like another 40 minutes, and I have like an hour's work to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the milk yields, I'm going to pull the cover back into the silage pit, and then we're going to end the video there. So trying to record anymore is just going to push me over my allocated time limit, and then my wife is going to be really angry with me, and it's not worth it. Okay, milk yields from yesterday. Okay, we're up 0.35 litres to 21.23. Now let's change this query and see what it was in previous years on the same day. Okay, so it's not amazing. We're basically behind every one of the last 4 years and we're feeding a heck of a lot more meal. Once you lose milk yield, it's so hard to get it back when you're at this point in the lactation. We are starting to calve in the next 2 weeks and I have a big change coming for this winter, which hopefully is going to see our cows milking better than any previous year, but it probably is going to cost quite a bit of money. So if it's actually financially worth it or not, we can all find out together. Also when I'm here, check out this cool graphic I made. We have 4.4 tonne of meal in the meal bin. There's meal coming today. That would have got us through the weekend to Monday, and then the meal bill would have been into next month, but I didn't pay attention enough. That was a mistake. Anyway, this is our water tank which feeds our cows drinkers. So there's 141 centimetres of water in it. It's currently not being topped up. And then this is our plate cooler water temps. So the plant is currently washing and you can see that our wash temps are 42.2 degrees. So this is the water in and out line, and this is the actual milk line. So that's pretty good. That's how much electric we're using at the minute, just about 1 kilowatt. It does round down, so it's more than likely like 1.6 or 1.7. Oh, there's so much bird dung in here. Oh, I hate birds. I hate birds so much. I hate birds so much. Right, I'm going to go and feed the cows and then rush home before I'm late or my wife's going to kill me. Thank you all for watching. If you have any comments, criticisms, encouragement, stick them down below in the comment section. I really do appreciate it. And if you've really enjoyed it, consider subscribing. It really helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. How am I going to get down? Oh my days. Parkour.